me first, I'm going to poll the audience a little bit. Think of yourself as a consumer, which you are, of course. With a round of applause, who thinks in general customer service is getting a lot better? With a round of applause. I didn't expect that. Okay, a few.
One table.
With a boo, who thinks it's actually getting worse?
Boo.
Yeah. And so you wonder, why are things kind of getting more challenging? Why is the experience challenging? But I also want to challenge, say, it may not be getting that much worse. Your expectations are getting better and higher. So when you think about customer experience, when we think about use cases across the customer experience, when I work with companies, for instance, the best companies don't have an AI strategy. They have an experience strategy. And then they leverage the tools to fit that need. And so therefore, for instance, use cases around conversational AI like chatbots or voice agents or voice tools like that as well, when they fit then into a generative to actually then pass that data through to the agent in a screen pop or to the desktop so they understand where that's being done. It's about bringing those things together, because the reality is most organizations, they go after the technology too soon. The reality is you need to think about what is your strategy? What do you want your experience to be like? And ultimately, think out of the box. Think crazy, because if AI can't do it today, it might tomorrow. So it's that opportunity to really think about what you want the experience to be, and then over time, you'll find tools that will provide that solution. But there's so many, and they're growing constantly. When we're looking at all of these opportunities, because again, you can scale it and do so many things, no limits, as Chris said, no limits to what we can do. It's making sure that as you're doing that, though, it's seamless. So you don't scale for effectiveness without thinking about seamless scaling as well, the ability to tie that together. I mean, we ultimately are still, from a human's perspective, our loyalty is driven more by effort than anything else, or lack thereof, if you will. And so, I mean, a decade ago it was, if something was hard to do, they were 4 times more likely to be disloyal. About 5 years ago, it was about 5, 6, 7 times more likely to be disloyal. The research we did last year, we're 13 times more likely to be disloyal if something's hard now.
If I can't text you and I have to call you to get anything done,
absolutely.
I literally, absolutely not happening.
Absolutely, and you've got to make sure that the dots are connected, that those components are put together. And ultimately, this audience, you as technology professionals, you can either save customer experience or you can sacrifice it based on how we deploy over the next several years. It's a key opportunity this audience has more than anybody else in the companies you work for, is that opportunity to have the seamless mindset and really bring these things together in that consistent and easy way of doing business, whether it's B2B or B2C. Yeah. I think using the agent solutions like Agent Assist and tools like that, put that human as part of it in the early phases versus going directly to consumer. Because as was said with Air Canada, I was speaking at a conference when that came out in Canada, and you've got to make sure that those experiences are protected early on if you're not really as clean, if you will, on the data side. Yeah.
So you're saying we have to balance the AI and human component? I thought AI was taking all of our jobs.
The more that we throw technology at the consumer, the more they're going to want a human connection, especially if something's wrong. And we already heard, phone is still king.
Say that again. The more we throw technology.
The more technology we shove and push on our consumers and on customers, the more they're going to want the human connection.
I like that.
And chasing the efficiencies you can gain with this kind of technology is awesome. Don't give it all back, though. Don't take every savings you can do and give it back to the business. Hold 25% of that efficiency and savings and reinvest in things like having conversations with customers, old school market research, because all of this data and the AI is going to give you great reams and reams of data, but you've got to continue to have that conversation, have context. And so I always say, you protect some of that. Don't promise your CFO that you're gonna give them all of the savings. Give them like 75% of it, and withhold some of that for the business to be more successful. Yeah, I had an issue with a company recently, and that I was doing business with. I didn't even know something was about to happen in 60 days, and it was gonna mess things up if I didn't take care of it. So they sent me an email proactively with a link on there, said if you have questions, click the link. I'll click the link, go to the website, FAQs, great. I still had questions. So I picked up the phone and called, and they answered and said, hey, I see this is going on in your account. Is this why you're calling? Yeah, absolutely. Let me get you that department. right through to the department, quick answer to that group. They said, yes, unfortunately, as you thought, you might have to come in person. So I just sent you a link to your email and your chat. Click on it, schedule your appointment, and then we'll see you. So I scheduled one for the following week. I got reminders like we all do with ability to reschedule or cancel. And then the night before my appointment, I got a new message that said, when you get in on site, click this link. So I got on site, I walked through the doorway, I clicked the link, it says, you're number 2 in line. Barely sat down, I'm up at the desk, they said, great, here's your information, we know what we're doing, let's take care of you, get you on with your day. Seamless. Now, I've had horrible experiences with companies known to have great experience. This seamless experience between human and technology channels, my local DMV, long time known as the butt of all jokes when it comes to customer experience. And here's the reality. If the DMV can do it,
you can too.
You can too, right? I'll take it. I agree with both those answers, and I think they're exactly right. I'll just take it a little different approach, is to say, and again, I'm preaching to the choir here because this is a technology conference and audience, but using AI, the different tools that are out there for yourself. Not for your business, but literally for yourself, to plan events, to whatever you want to do, to learn things and understand things. Just getting members of your company and employees of the company to use things like that gets them over kind of that fear a little bit when they start to see the value and how it can help. And it can sometimes, level things out a little bit for your organization as you go forward, because now there's at least context, a little bit more about, now I understand what generative AI and conversational AI really is, more so, and then your organization can be kind of ready to move forward, because everybody, we talked about it earlier, there's some fear still on what's going to happen, and rightly so in many ways, especially as we think about the bad actors that Tia talked about earlier, but using those things in a safe environment in that manner will then help kind of smooth things out as you want to start implementing those test cases that you both described. And don't forget the value then. We've been talking customer experience primarily, but the EX value, the employee experience, because like Observe AI's products, it's all about coaching the agents, real-time, assistance and help, and really, making them more effective. Well, that makes them feel better too. And the efficiencies there can be just as valuable as going directly to the customer, but making sure that that's part of that, that ecosystem, that's driving you, because when you think about these opportunities, when you think about what you're trying to accomplish with the technology, it's multi-purpose. And then there's brand experience, because it impacts that. It becomes such a ecosystem.
Say, if you don't think that EX affects CX, you are out of your mind. If I call in and that person's happy at their job, I'm having a way better experience.
Yep.
We've just got a few minutes left, but I kind of want to talk about the future of this, right? So we kind of know what it does now. We know that the possibilities are limitless, but in reality, where is this headed? What can I anticipate? What should I start looking for?
I don't know that anybody can fully answer that right now, because it is changing so fast. But and there's statistics on this, and when you think about change in business, in the 80s it was once a decade, 90s it was twice a decade, 2000s it was 3 times a decade. Now we're like once a year of change in the 2000s, the 2010s. It's literally 2 to 3 times a year, major shifts. I don't know who the they is. There's always this they, but the they is saying that by 2027, once a month, we will be seeing massive changes in how we do things. And so as we think about the future, it's more important to be prepared to pivot as we move forward. So it's, again, thinking through what's your purpose, what are you trying to drive to, what are you leveraging, because as it's changing, it will change. It's like the epitome of every department of transit I know who builds their highways. They have this 3-year project, they build these major highways. By the time they're done, they're still 5 years behind, right? Not enough lanes. And we've got to be conscious of that. So being able to be prepared that as things change, we have to understand and then embrace that hey, we're going to pick solutions and then we're going to change solutions. We've got to embrace that for the future, because it will change. And not just will your competitors, but your consumers their expectations are escalating. Everyone's last best experience is now their new minimum expectation, no matter who it's with. And so, if Amazon rocks it on certain things, or other organizations do great, everybody else is now has that expectation. And we've got to understand, so if you wait, not only are you losing to your competitor, you're losing to what the expectations of your customers are.